Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Energetics. It's Sarah here, and I am so grateful to be back recording this podcast. If you follow me on social media, you know that I took a hiatus to travel to Portugal and Spain to walk the Camino de Santiago with my kids as a solo parent. And let me tell you, if you are a parent, if you are a solo traveler, if you are in any relationship, anything, wherever you're at, I highly encourage you to do this pilgrimage. It will break you open. It's so transformative. And what I found was that actually the transformations that were occurring weren't necessarily happening in real time. It was after the fact. And so I took about 2 months to rest and digest and really integrate in what it was I was learning about myself and what it was I was ready to let go of and let go of on the Camino itself. So if you've never walked the Camino, it is about anywhere from a week to 3 months. You can make it your own adventure. It's kind of like those choose your own adventure books that we read as a child. The Camino offers you whatever it is you need. They say the Camino provides, and boy, was that true for us on so many occasions. But what I didn't expect was what came after the Camino. After we walked 280 kilometers, we gained over 4,000 feet of, or 4,000 meters rather, of elevation. We met some amazing people from around the world and got to learn about their way of living, from joking around and exchanging cookies that we got from the monasteries to running into each other days later and just embracing each other in a great big hug, to hearing stories from their lives, some that you wouldn't even think were true unless they gave us the receipts, which was wild. There was one family who was sharing that their uncle got eaten by a shark, which was wild, and we didn't believe it was true. And then they pulled up the news clippings, and we were just astounded at the story, because for us here in Canada, that just seems so, it seems like a movie. Like, how can that actually be true? So it was really fun to meet so many different people from around the world while we were walking, while we were deep in our thoughts and deep in experiencing what was moving through our bodies. Now, what I found walking the Camino was there was days where we really didn't talk at all. We were really moving through these woundings that have happened before we arrived, from circulating thoughts of shame and anger and rage and all of the things, to feeling and noticing that we were holding ourselves back, that we were dimming our own lights. And there were so many lessons, so many moments that I did not expect to pop up, that I could never have imagined, that I'm so grateful did, because it was such a teaching tool. And while we were walking the Camino, we also realized that a lot of what we were carrying wasn't even ours. They were expectations put on us. They were ways in which our families had lived for years and years, generations and generations. And some of the things myself personally that I was holding on to truly wasn't even mine. I was holding on to the rage and anger and fear and hyper-vigilance that I was taught through generations before me, great-grandparents, grandparents, parents. And so what I found when I came home is that I wanted to dive more into generational healing. It was something that I've been doing for years and years within my integrative energetic works with clients one-on-one. But there was something more calling, something deeper. And what I was finding when I was doing womb work and facilitating womb workshops is that a lot of the root cause was actually through the generational lines. A lot of the root sensations were birthed actually while we were in utero, in our grandparents, in our mothers. Those eggs carry onward, right? We are an egg, our egg, which we birthed from, that we came from, was in our mother, who was being carried in our grandmother. And when we get thinking about all those layers of emotions and energy and how it carries through and integrates and embeds and weaves and flows, it really began to open this network of communication and web of understanding that I've been really integrating into the day-to-day work. And it's actually become my new program, which is called Untangled, right? We're untangling so our lineage can finally rest, that we can help those before us and those after us. In shamanism, we say 7 generations before and 7 generations behind, find that peace and that ease, so that we no longer need to repeat patterns that have been presenting for generations and generations, and we can really, close that story, close that chapter, and move forward with a little less baggage, a little less things in our backpack that we're walking with through the Camino and through our day-to-day life. So, that I'm sure you've heard people say, the weight you carry isn't all yours. And I've truly, through my work, but also my personal experience, learned that that is true. So before we go any deeper, I'm sure you're here for a reason. Maybe you've landed here because someone sent you this clip. Maybe a word in the description stopped you mid-scroll. Maybe it was a feeling that you've been carrying whatever it is that's weighing you down for so long that maybe you've numbed it out. You notice that you stopped noticing it, that you stopped feeling it. That could be joy. That could be anger. That could be grief. Maybe you've done the therapy, read the books, done the healing work, moved through the courses. Heck, maybe you even got certifications, but something still won't shift. And that's why I want to talk to you here today. Because when we're able to really get to the root, beyond the root, weave through the lineage and pluck those moments or pieces out, that's when we're going to notice the big change. That's when things are going to happen. So let's buckle in today. Let's get really comfy cozy. We're going to talk about this generational work, but we're also going to talk about and offer you rather a short clearing and activation at the end of today's podcast. So settle in, get comfy cozy, and let's dive in. So, what most healing approaches miss, what I've noticed through the years, is not where they begin. It's not how they approach things, but it's that deeper aspect, right? Sessions usually start with you, your thoughts, your patterns, your nervous system, your childhood, and these things all matter very deeply. But for many women, and men too, the healing stalls out. We get to a plateau, and something continues to return. A pattern, a heaviness, an anxiety with no clear origin story. And the real reason, is that they're trying to heal what didn't start with them. We're trying to heal something that we don't fully understand because it didn't start with us. It started generations before us. But yet our body continues to hold the memory. And the body's fantastic, right? The body keeps score. I'm sure you've heard of that book. So as we know, the body keeps score of everything we see, feel, sense, what we interpret, what we witness, what has happened to us, but also what has happened to those before us in our generational line. The body holds memory, and not just our memory, but the memory of the women and men who have come before you, your mother, your father, her mother, his father, the women in your lineage line who survived things they never had the space to process: famine, war, loss, abuse, grief. All of those things were swallowed because stopping was never an option for them. When we experience events and situations like these, and they go unprocessed, they don't just disappear, right? We oftentimes think that if we bury things and continue on, it'll be fine. But actually, that that thing that you just buried just brews deeper and deeper within the body, and it becomes malignant. It doesn't disappear. It comes back tenfold, hundredfold, days, weeks, months, years later. And when it's not dealt with, it begins to form dis-ease and possibly disease within the body. Your energy carries a blueprint and a root. And when our energy is not moving and it's stagnant, that's when we're going to find disease stemming and beginning to grow and flourish within the body. So these experiences, they settle into the body and they change your nervous system. They alter the way we move through the world, the hyper-vigilance, the bracing, the grief, the things that we are feeling that we cannot name. The feeling of waiting for something to go wrong, even when everything is fine. I'm sure you've been there, right? Maybe you're scared to feel joy because you're waiting for the ball to drop, or get into that relationship because it's just going to end. They're just going to leave me. And then these things, they get passed down. Not as stories, not even as memories, but as a frequency, as an energetic imprint, and as a nervous system that was already shaped before you took your first breath. This is what epigenetics is beginning to confirm, right? If you've been looking into the New Age sciences, you can see that epigenetics is now taking hold, and they're starting to confirm that trauma changes us on a cellular level, and those changes can be inherited. What the science is catching up to is what shamanic and energetic practices and traditions have known for centuries. You know, that work that so many has kind of wiped away as fluff, it is the basis of what science nowadays is confirming. How amazing is that? You're not just healing yourself, and science proves this. When you heal yourself, you're not just healing yourselves, you're healing backwards through your lineage and forwards through the generations that come after you. By doing the work, when I was in my yoga teacher training, I would move great deals of energy and grief and rage and anger through shamanic practices with my peers. And I would come home and be greeted by my kids, and they would be energetically shifted. They would say, like, "Mom, you're like a totally new person. You're so happy." But what I would find is that our little family would be moving through and releasing things. One of my friends in that class, she was purging and releasing these really heavy situations which happened to her years before, and she got a text from her kids saying they were vomiting at home and fevering. And as soon as she stopped working, miraculously these fevers went away. And she went home, and the kids were just the happiest and the lightest and the most energized they've ever been. I'm not saying, we have no proof that was the cause of those fevers and the purging within the kids, but it was a pretty interesting significance, synchronicity that it was happening. It came on the same time she started doing the work that day, and it ended at the end of the day when she went to rest. So when we're healing ourselves, we're healing through your lineage line forward and backwards. What we say in shamanism is 7 generations before and 7 generations behind. And this is the work I do in my practice with you. This is what generational energetics is. And this is why for some women, nothing else has quite reached those pieces that are still sustaining within the body. Because they've been healing at a personal level, which lives in the lineage level. Because when we are able to heal at that personal level and then go deeper into the lineage level, we can then release those pieces. So I feel like that was a little bit confusing, that last end, so let me just reiterate one more time. When we heal on the surface level through talk therapy and all those other things, sometimes we don't get to that root cause, that lineage piece. And when we go deeper into generational energetics, into the shamanic aspect of things, that's where we heal on that lineage level. That's where we go a little bit deeper. Now, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm just saying they're different types of modalities. They're a beautiful complement to each other. So many times I would have beautiful clients come in post talk therapy, and it would be such a compliment and a complimentary service to be able to offer them shamanic work and generational energetics through the womb space after those sessions, because we would find that things would move so much more significantly. Things would move with more ease, and there'd be more breakthroughs and releases, and they would just find that there was more results from doing it collaboratively. So I want to offer you something now. I want to offer you a very short activation, about 5 minutes. It's going to help you begin to feel the difference between what is yours and what you inherited. Now, you don't need any prior experience with energy work whatsoever, I promise you. You only need to be willing to feel it. So bringing that open mind to the table, to the forefront. So take a moment now. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Stay very much aware, but just notice what's moving through you. You might want to try this later on when you can lay down and take some ease. But find a comfortable position wherever you are. Maybe that's rooting into your chair a little bit more. Maybe that's tucking those shoulder blades back and down to open that heart center. Maybe that's softening your gaze or your eyes downward if it's safe to do so. And just let your hands rest open in your lap or on the womb, whatever feels best for you. The goal here is not to be holding your body, but rather letting the bed or the chair or the ground hold you. Okay? So I want you to take a nice big breath into the body. Hold it for a moment. And let it go. Taking another deep breath into the body. Hold that breath in. And maybe this time you sigh, making noise, making it audible as you exhale, let it go. And let's begin by bringing your awareness into your body. What is here? Not your thoughts, not that to-do list, just the physical sense of being in the body right here, right now. Feeling the weight of you in your seat or in your chair or on the ground. Feeling the rise and the fall of your breath in your chest and your belly. Bringing your awareness to your belly now. To your womb space if you're female, or your abdomen if you're male. Whether or not you have a physical womb, this energetic center exists in all women. It is the space between your hip bones. Regardless, the center of your creative and generational energy lies here. Inviting one hand there if it feels right, or two. Continuing that breath into the belly, into the womb space, that creative center. And out. Notice what is present in this space right now. Without judgment, without trying to change it. Just notice. Is there heaviness? Tension? Maybe there's numbness. Maybe you don't feel anything. Maybe there's warmth or something you can't quite name. Now, whatever is there, whatever is here, it belongs. It's information. Just mentally taking note. What is here? What am I feeling? Now I want you to imagine roots beginning to grow downward from this space, from the womb center, through the body, through the bed or the chair or the ground beneath you, all the way down through the layers of the earth, all the way back through time. These roots reach the women who came before you. These roots reach the men who came before you. Your mother or father, her mother, the woman in your line stretching back further than you can name. So for the women, these roots reach the women who came before you, reaching from your womb space, through the ground, through the layers of earth, all the way back through time, reaching your mother, her mother, and all the women in your line stretching back further than you can name. And as you feel these roots extending back, notice if anything in your body shifts. Notice if anything starts to want to take hold. If there's a tightening, releasing, or recognition. Some women do feel emotion here. Some feel nothing, yet that is also fine. You're simply becoming aware of the connection that has always been here, that has always been there. Feel into the roots extending back, and notice if anything in the body shifts. A shiver, a catch in breath, a sensation. Now, gently with love, I want you to ask your body one question. You don't need to speak it out loud, just feel it. And that question is, what am I carrying that was never mine to carry? What am I carrying that was never mine to carry? Don't try to answer it with your mind. Just let the question land in your body and notice what arises. Taking a moment to breathe into that question, what am I carrying that was never mine to carry? Whatever came up, whether it was a feeling, an image, a word, a knowing, place your hand on your womb space and simply say, either out loud or internally, I see you. I honor where you came from. And I am ready to begin returning what was never mine. I see you. I honor where you came from. And I am ready to begin returning what was never mine. Take a nice big slow breath in. And as you exhale, imagine these roots gently loosening, not severing, loosening. You're not cutting yourself off from your lineage. You are just beginning to untangle from it what it passed down unconditionally, unconsciously, unknowingly. Continue to exhale and loosen, untangle. And take one more breath, letting it go slowly. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness back into the room, wiggling your fingers and your toes, feeling your feet on the floor. And if your eyes were closed, invitation to gently open those eyes now. If you want to pause the podcast, you can pause and take some notes, write in your journal. If something moved in that activation, even something small, something you can't name yet, that is the beginning of this work, simply making contact. That sensation you felt, that is your body recognizing something it has been waiting and wanting to address. The activation we just did together is a glimpse of what becomes possible when we go deeper. When we don't just touch the surface of this work, but we follow the thread all the way back to where it's actually started. And this is what the untangling is. So if you're wanting to dive a little bit more into your generational energetic work, I offer a one-to-one container called the Untangling. It is a 6-week or 3 months, depending on where you are and how deep you're ready to go. We work with the womb energetics, ancestral lines, clearing, shamanic energetic work, somatic release, and nervous system healing, all woven together, session by session, based on what your body and your lineage are ready to release. So this is the most specific and most personal work I offer, and it is for the women and men who have done circling the edges and are just ready to dive into the root. You've gone around in circles, you've ticked all the boxes, taken all the classes, done all the things, and you're ready to dive even deeper. There's a link in the description below for you to learn more if you're ready to apply, or you can head over to my website, www.healingwithsarah.ca, and you can find all the information there. If you felt something today, trust that. Trust yourself. Trust the felt senses. Trust your body. It already knows before your mind catches up. So trust that body. Trust that gut. I would be honored, so honored, to walk with you through this journey if you so choose. If this podcast has found you at the right moment, please share it with a woman in your life who you sense is carrying something that isn't entirely hers, or who might be interested in this work as well. I am so grateful. Every share, every like, every subscribe really does help let this work reach other women who may be searching for it as well. So if you can do that, it takes no time at all. I'd be so, so grateful. You might be the reason why another woman finally finds the right door, finally finds herself a little bit deeper, a little bit more joy, and a little bit more ease. Until next time.